Right, shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, RACHAA, QADASH, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And honor to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And I just did a video responding to that, character making the goofy statement about the law is obsolete. And I wanted to understand a little bit more about, the Christian doctrine regarding the law. And I found an article on Wikipedia called The Law of Christ. And it's hella difficult to understand what their position is. Based upon what I was reading, what they're saying is that the law of Christ or the New Testament replaces or completes the law which is written in the Old Testament, right? And as far as I could see, the only reference they could provide for any form of law or dictate by which you're supposed to live by is love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? And so this is very confusing. So yes, we are supposed to live by the principle, which is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay? But the scriptures tell you that what is love? Love is the keeping of the commandments. How do you love your brother? By keeping the commandments towards him. Okay? By doing justice, which is of the law. Okay? And it's just very weird, because here it is, these Christians want to jump up and tell you, the minute you mention any law that's in the Old Testament, they'll say, oh no, that's been done away with. But these societies that we live in are supposed to be societies based upon, Christianity. They're called Judeo-Christian. And if you've noticed, is that they codify and create laws for themselves. Case in point, like, they've got books upon books upon books of law. They have lawyers that have to go to university for years to learn half of the law that they're expecting us to follow. But these are Christians. You're not supposed to follow the law of the Most High, which is written in the scriptures. But they've created a whole separate law. And it's just very confusing. It's very confusing indeed. When it comes to the law, the scriptures is very clear. The law is good. The law is holy. But the law does not bring salvation. The law cannot save us. YAHAWASHI is the one who saved us from the curse of the law, because we couldn't keep it. So in these times, we're under grace until such a time as we are delivered and the New Testament is established, and that same law is placed in our minds and our hearts, and we keep it perfectly. So we know that at the moment we can't keep the law perfectly, but we strive to do so. We strive to do that which is right. We strive to do justice. By just saying love thy neighbor as thyself with no other reference as to how you love your neighbor as yourself. That's why these Christians eat whatever they want and do whatever they want, because it's all up to interpretation. It's very confusing. If you ask one person to another what love is, they're all going to give you a different definition. But the Bible gives you one definition, which is the keeping of the commandments. And it's all codified. So I know not to lay down with my brother's wife, because the scripture says thou shalt not commit adultery. I know not to steal from my brother, because the scripture said thou shalt not steal. I know not to murder, because it says thou shalt not murder. I know what to eat and what not to eat. I know how to worship. I know what days are holy and separated unto the Lord. Okay, there's so many different situations in terms of property and so forth, that you know what is the right and what is the wrong based upon what is written in the scriptures. Because it's codified. And that's the understanding of love. Now, if you're a Christian, how do you know what's right or wrong? You don't really know what's right or wrong, because all they're telling you is it's the law of Christ, you love your neighbor as thyself. Yeah, how do you do that? And this is where it becomes goofy. Because YAHAWASHI himself, was he not without sin? Did he not keep the law perfectly? And are not we being edified to be after that perfect stature? So what is it that you Christians are striving for? What are you striving for? What do you live by? What do you do or do not? It's up to interpretation, isn't it? And the Lord has never left it up to interpretation. He's always been very clear. The Christian doctrine, as when it comes towards what's right and what's wrong, is confusing. And then these same Christians have created a secular law, which is just, it's crazy. These Christians have created the secular law that we have to follow. But these are the same people telling you that the law has been done away with. And there's only one law, which is to love the neighbor as thyself. Then why are your societies not created with just one law? Because you know you can't run a society with some ambiguous statement like that. It has to be codified. It has to be codified. Oh, love your neighbor as thyself. Yeah. But how do you do that? That's why the scripture says the whole law rests upon two laws. Love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Because if you love the Lord, the scripture says, if you love me, you keep my commandments. And if you love your brother, you keep the commandments. That's why those two laws are the chief laws above all laws. Because in order to keep those two laws, you need to keep all the other laws. And that's what we strive for. Now, we're not saying you're going to be perfect. That's why there's grace. But these guys, man, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just hella confusing to me what the hell their doctrine actually is. And now we're seeing the root of it. Why Christianity is so bugged out and goofy. Because it's just a bag of confusion. The American judicial system, the American law system, was created by Christians. Why did they create a system like that if you don't need a codified law? If all you need is love your neighbor as yourself? Think about that. So these are the same guys that got a problem with us mentioning the law. It makes no sense. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it, man. These goofy Christians, man. Let me jump on this bus. Shalom.